Tuesday, the 19th of November 2024. I wasn't going to film on this particular day, but it always feels that whenever I make up my decision not to film, it always feels like something canon is going to happen in this day and I'm going to miss it. So I decided to film, and once I made that decision, lo and behold, it started to snow. It was really nice, it was really beautiful. Obviously it wasn't certain, but I think everyone was quite excited that it was snowing. Even when I went to the train station, everyone had their cameras out, and it was really nice. I liked it. Into the gym at around 9 a.m. I was doing my leg workout. I felt a bit lonely because I had to go into one of these secluded rooms, and all the squat racks on the main floor were all taken. I then headed into Ground Cafe and I got coffee, and I was in Ground Cafe for quite a while. I was doing writing, and I started doing my study sessions in here. It's quite nice to come in here, especially when it's nice and cold outside. It's a nice vibe and it's nice and warm inside. In Ground Cafe, I felt really weird. I felt really lonely, and I think some of those old feelings started to come back, and I was a little bit annoyed because I felt like I had conquered them already. I was talking about a new understanding and things like that. I felt like I had conquered them already, so I was a bit annoyed. Some of these feelings are coming back, and I was just sitting there and I was doing my work, I was being productive, but I was a little bit I wasn't feeling too good. And I was actually happy when Ariane came in, just to have someone there. That was kind of nice. But then again, when he left, and those aren't really good feelings to have, and I don't like having those feelings. In there, approximately up until about 12:30, I then went into the library to do my last study session. So I had done 2 study sessions and I had 1 more. So I went into the library to do it, but I was not productive at all in that study session. I barely did anything. I was just so exhausted from Ground Cafe, just working away, and the morning as a whole. I'd been so productive in the morning, so I was quite exhausted. And when I got into Ground Cafe, I was just I was tired. I was tired. What did I do after that? Hold on. To the physics museum to warm up some food. I saw Zayn. Kind of around midday, I kind of had this thing where I basically said that nothing's gone wrong, and you don't have to sabotage the day. You don't have to think of the whole day as bad. I was a bit annoyed. I wasn't feeling too good, and I wasn't a bit annoyed, but I was everything's gone to plan. You've been you've done everything you needed to do in the day, and you haven't even necessarily had a bad interaction with anybody. Nothing's bad about today. Nothing's objectively bad. You just kind of feel the way you feel. So I was try and cheer up a bit. And I was planning to say in my head there was this pulse of resistance, which there kind of was, right? So there was a pulse of resistance. There was a voice saying that no, we don't have to be sad because nothing's actually wrong, if that makes sense. And lo and behold, from that feeling, that kind of singular voice that kind of stood out in my head, I was actually able to kind of change the mood of the whole day, because that mood takes hold of me. It's everything suddenly pales, if that makes sense. And especially I noticed then if I was to go and talk to someone, I'd just be watching every single phrase that I say and do, and everything, I'll be just apprehensive about it. It's comprehensively. But all of my conversations with people will just be artificial. On this particular occasion, it worked. I had about 15 minutes to kill before my lecture from 3 to 5. So I went back into Ground Cafe and just sat on one of the stalls. Just watching the snow, although the snow's kind of melted by now, and just watching the people go by, and just kind of having those 5-15 minutes to kind of relax and calm myself down. It had been an exhausting day. It had been a really exhausting day. I was actually a lot better. If someone was to come and talk to me now, I'd probably feel a lot more at ease and comfortable in conversations, as opposed to just half an hour ago. So that was nice. And then at 3 to 5, I headed into my quantum mechanics lecture. I left about halfway through, came back, and it ended at 5. And then I was so tired, so I didn't go and film some videos or anything. So I walked with Jeremy to the train station, which was nice because it meant that me and Jeremy had some bonding time, which was awesome. And then when I got home, I didn't want to admit that I had these certain feelings, because a part of me just wanted those feelings to be done with, because I felt I had conquered them, I'd gotten over them, I understood them. And it was annoying, and it's annoying to, when you spend a lot of time solving an equation and you get an answer and you think it's right, you're happy. And then and you put the answer back into the equation and then something's going wrong, you don't want to think that the answer's wrong, because then you just think your whole understanding previously is wrong as well. And you just spent a lot of time doing it. But I was writing it down At the beginning, it felt like a fruitless task because this is what I do all the time. Is it going to yield anything? And I actually wrote it down. I was just observing my day and just seeing like where the possible things went wrong. I think I got to the point where I said like, is there something I'm missing? You know, like previously I had said that like I'm going to try and like open myself up a little bit more to people, not to be so closed and kind of like fenced off. And obviously doing that requires a little bit of bravery, and you also have to practice that idea of like people aren't going to do anything. So there's that, which I understand it. But then I was also like, I got to the conclusion where I was like, yes, there's an inner child within me who wants to do all of this stuff. But also I'm not a child, I'm also an adult. And I also got to stand up within myself and basically say like, you know, yes, I'll try and speak to people. Yes, I'll try and be more open, and I'll try and do X, Y, and Z. But also I can't be dependent on that. I can't need that. My mood cannot be dependent on that. Like, you gotta negotiate with this child, this inner child, and you kind of got to say to it like, okay, we'll do what you say. We won't shut ourselves off, but also like if people aren't going to be receptive, if people aren't gonna, because like sometimes people are shy, and you know, like sometimes you try and catch people's eye, and you know, like, you know, like you can try your best, but as well, you know, like a lot of people don't come in, a lot of people prefer to not talk, a lot of you can't control that, and it's not fair for me. And this is where like I gotta stand up and be an adult and kind of say that like, okay, yes, you want to speak to people, but you can't depend on them for them to reciprocate. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, you can't depend on that. You can't need that. Yes, we'll try, but again, like you're setting yourself this other goal. You're setting yourself this other goal. When you get this, you can feel like this. It shouldn't be like that. I have to feel like, it's weird. I have to feel like I've had a good interaction right now. The way I would feel when I had a good interaction, I have to feel like that now, because having a good interaction is not in my control. Do you get me? Because then like I'm just waiting for the next day for something to happen, but nothing's happening. Like right now in my room, so like this was afterwards, like right now in my room, when I'm not talking to anyone, I gotta feel like this because I've got nothing to feel bad about, and like, you know, I'm doing everything I want to do, like as in like I'm being productive and I'm doing all the things that I want to do, and I'm not displeased with myself. So I gotta be happy, I gotta be content. I gotta feel like enough right now, and I'm not gonna set myself another goal, because now I've set so many goals, like, you know, once I do X, once I do Y, once I do Z, and I've completed all of them. And yeah, I just like I stood up and I actually wrote it down a lot more dramatically, and maybe do, but you know, I deserve to be happy right now. I deserve to feel like enough right now. I deserve to not feel like this. I deserve to not put myself in. I will do as you say, but we're not gonna depend on them. We're not going to need them. You know, and that was kind of my thought process, and I think I felt a lot better after that. So maybe that's like the missing piece of the puzzle. I hope it is. Also, look how beautiful this weather is. Thank you for watching. No watch. Okay, now I don't want to eat it now. Okay, because you get it.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember.
No, just be normal. Just be normal.